you guys are not the first band in the like literally in the last week that I've seen you make a video look like a 4 by 3 VHS tape. Was this an intentional kind of was this an intentional throwback?
Kind of by necessity. So we originally, I think when we had the album done and we had like the singles picked out that we knew we needed to do some kind of like video content for, I reached out to a couple friends around town that have like nice camera gear, like people we worked with in the past that could do like, professional looking stuff. And they were either like all busy or like couldn't do it or whatever. And so I had recently like inherited or just been given my parents' old like Sony camcorder from like 2001 or something. And I
Yeah.
just used it for like a couple little like promo videos for other projects and stuff. But I was like, you know what? Like maybe we don't need our friends this time around. Maybe we can just kind of find a good space, like light it up like crazy. Our friend Matt helped us with all the lighting stuff. And yeah, we just had him shoot the whole thing like handheld camera style. It just kind of has that nostalgia quality that kind of turned out giving it more character than maybe like a nice camera shoot would have.
It
So
is
yeah,
a
all the promo videos are shot with that, at least like for the full music videos that we've done.
so Plastique as an album. Um, does as someone who is about to turn 40, when I was growing up watching movies in the 90s, the term plastique was thrown around by bad guys referring to plastic explosive all the
I
time,
remember
and then I
Golden
swear it
Eye.
stopped. Like, yeah, after the 90s, they stopped referring to a plastic explosive as plastique. What inspired it?
I honestly don't remember. So I remember like when we were putting together the album, and I kept just thinking of like just like a shiny, like crumpled up texture as like a image that was I was associating with the sound, and just like picturing like what an album cover would look like something like shrink wrapped and all kind of mushed and shoveled up or shriveled up. And then I was like, well, let me look up some names. Let me look up some words that are kind of like pertain to, this kind of vibe that I'm feeling out. And, there's like a million albums called Plastic or Plastic X, like
Mm.
using that word. And so I was looking around, I was like, Plastique. Now that like is a little bit of a lesser used word. And, given like the various definitions of it is what sealed the deal. Cause there's like that plastic explosive, that kind of like aggressive, almost like violent kind of imagery. But then there's also the name of I guess a type of ballet or a type of ballet pose. And so I feel like the new music's a little bit more graceful than what we've maybe done that was just super raw and gnarly before. So yeah, it kind of was all those things tied together. I was like, you know what? Let's wait a couple months to see if we come up with anything better. And I don't know, Jim. I don't think we did. We had some
Oh
good.
yeah,
We had a
good set on it.
couple good ideas, but yeah.
So, Jim, I understand that the vocals for this were recorded in a cabin in the woods. Uh,
Yes,
It
Um,
was.
story time.
it was.
Yeah.
It was really fun to say that. We kind of struggled for a while to be able to get together as a band often, So we recorded a whole album in different chunks. So that was probably we all got together and decided that, all right, if we're gonna get away with this, we got to figure out a time that we can all just take off work and be together and just nonstop doing it. And Barnes had mentioned that he done it with a side project. He just rented a cabin in New York and kind of just put into work. And we're like, let's try it.
Yeah, it was cool because like so when we were making the album, like we started off as like a band based out of Charleston, South Carolina, and then during the pandemic, two of the members, myself included, moved away from Charleston. So this whole thing was written remotely, and so not just like the recording sessions, like we had to coordinate all these things, like all right, when's everyone able to get off work and all this stuff? When am I able to travel down for the recording sessions? And it was just like a lot of moving parts, and we were able to do the instrumentals in some studios that we had worked with before. But yeah, for the vocals, like I have a simple enough, like professional enough vocal recording setup that I knew that we could just find an Airbnb or a Verbo or whatever somewhere that we can just focus strictly on vocals for like 4 days. And that's really what we did. And a lot of happy accidents happened because of it. We had like more time to experiment, even though it was like a short window of time. That's literally all we were doing for about 4 days. So yeah, the cabin was clutch.
I feel like it would have been an intense 4 day for you, Jim. Like I imagine they'd be sitting around going, Jim, we're here because of you. You're costing us money on the Airbnb. Hurry up.
He felt the pressure.
There was definitely a lot of pressure. But I think we all work best in that situation. Especially me and like time crunch, we were able to nail most of it first, second try. So, after a lot of throat teas and a lot of beer, we were, just I think by the last day I could barely talk. But
his voice was fucked. Like the literally the last vocal part we recorded of Jim on the album is like this little bridge section of one of the songs where like he was kind of like when we demoed it out, he was sort of emulating this like raspy kind of like talking style, but like that was literally all he could do by the end of it. So it worked out perfect. His voice just like, I think we took one break to watch Tropic Thunder, and that was about it. The rest of the time we're just go, go, go.
This is important. I mean, what's going to set the vibe more for your vocals than, I'm a dude playing another dude. This is
yeah. It was like method acting, it was great.
I love the fact that despite obviously, how incredibly sharply our culture has shifted in terms of what's appropriate or something, people still look back on Robert Downey Jr. and it's like, no, you know what? He can get away with that because I know exactly the kind of actors who are pretentious enough to do that exactly. and be like, oh, that's offensive. No, I'm getting in character.
Yeah, the fact that they weave that into it was like almost the foresight of like weaving in that like that commentary into the plot itself was just like it's like mind blowing.
You know damn well, we won't name names because I'm sure they're great, but you just know there's a couple of actors, particularly working today, and you're like, if they didn't have black friends keeping them in check, they would 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's true. There's some real weirdos out there in Hollywood.
Dude, everyone needs a black friend to keep you to keep us uppity whites in check. Like, no.
Make that the headline of this article.
No, you can't wear that hat.
Yeah.
So, guys, the group first formed in 2017, and I understand that there was you guys were getting a bit of momentum going, and then just COVID. What was it like? Obviously, that knocked the wind out of all of us.
Yeah, totally.
Last truly universal experience that we've had as a species. What were you guys like? What was the process of getting back into it? How long did it take you?
It took a really long time. Like, and it's always weird to talk about the COVID stuff with being in a band, especially one that was like doing it like half professionally. We weren't like one of these bands that their entire livelihood was like taken away from them. And so like, I definitely never want to like, paint the picture that, that totally like ruined our lives or something. But it was just really hard for us because like, so yeah, we had this momentum building that was based around our last album and had some cool touring opportunities and stuff coming up that obviously went, evaporated. But I think the hardest part was that, like a lot of bands, we were like, okay, let's use this downtime to like write our next album. That'll be our pivot. That's what we can work on during this time that we can't play shows and all of that. But like, we just had a couple false starts and like nothing was really sticking. And so we were dealing with these kind of like, like a lack of creativity for a while. And then I moved to New York. Our drummer at the time moved to Portland, Oregon. And it was just like the band just plummeted down our respective priority lists. And so we didn't even know, like we would play a show or two every year just to kind of, just to have fun really. And like some, we like played the fest in Gainesville and like a couple cool opportunities came up, but like we weren't really writing. And then we just like slowly but surely figured out a way to do this like long distance demo process where I would send out like a batch of rough song ideas. The guys would get back to me with like, all right, we're feeling this one, we're feeling this one, maybe change this with this one. And then I would come down to South Carolina every so often and we'd start putting things together as a full band. But I think that, Jim, that took like 2 years, right? Once we really started writing this album in particular.
Yeah. I mean, he would make trips just for us to, fuck around and just try to get the cadence of the music or the songs going. So it would just be, he'll come down for 2 days with me, him, and the computer, and it would just kind of work on things. And then it kind of came to a point that we all got in this group text. It's like, if we're gonna do it, we got to do it now, or just call it. So I think that really drove a spark in all of us to, because I mean, I love this band, and it's definitely it's like, well, let's just get to work. And we all have busy schedules with work, but we make time. Sometimes it's no free time, but it's just something we're really passionate about, and I just give it a good go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it just took us a little while to like find that passion again. You know what I mean? So like, we basically from 2020 to 2022, we were pretty stagnant. But once we started to hit that flow, we really like made time for it again.
It's interesting. Around 20, I'm going to say either 2018 or 2019, I randomly came across a band that got me into a whole different genre of music. I was working out in my garage and a song came on Spotify, and it was Committed by Unsane. And all of a sudden I was like, what the hell is this? And discovered noise rock and thought, holy crap, have I gone down the rabbit hole in the last 6 years? So you guys sound amazing because, yeah, some of that guitar work, I just hear, a little bit of Unsane, a little bit of Milk Banana or something like. What were some of the influences that kind of shaped you guys?
Yeah, I mean, like Unsane was definitely a big one for me. Just like heavy as hell, like simple guitar riffs, just like I don't know, it's just something like super raw about that band in particular. I mean, I think we all kind of come from different backgrounds. Like I kind of grew up more on like the post-hardcore side of things with like, Fugazi and Drive Like JU and Hot Snakes and things like that. Whereas Jim kind of has more of like a hardcore background. And so I know when we first started the band, like Jim and I definitely had bands that overlapped that we liked, like Ceremony was a big one for both of us. But I think it was the mixing of those two backgrounds that really helped like kind of form our own sound. I don't know what you think, Jim.
Oh, I knew Jim was in a hardcore band because he's got a cap and a moustache.
That's not the first time I've heard that. Funny, I actually was at a comedy show in New York, and literally the stand-up comic was, "Are you in a hardcore band?" And it's kind of like, yeah.
Wait, you got roasted? You got roasted,
yeah.
Jim? I don't know about this.
Yeah, it was pretty called out. It's like tattoos, black shirt, mustache. Are you in a hardcore band? It was like, fuck. Okay.
You're like, no, I'm in a noise rock band, actually, sir.
Which is totally different.
Yeah.
Well, I like to, I definitely come from the hardcore background. What was really nice, it's we all like Barnes said, like we all have different kind of ways of the music that we grow up on, and that helped me discover a lot more and get a broader spectrum of things, and appreciate different styles of music a lot more. Especially I mean, we listen to like I just remember on drives and long shows we listen to Portuguese music or house music, and that kind of just clicked, and it definitely has a lot of influence, all the different sounds in the new album.
Yeah, for sure. I think we like built on those kind of foundational sounds a lot on this new one. And yeah, like Jim said, I mean, we're always kind of like trading new bands that we find with each other and stuff, kind of putting each other on to new stuff that we might not have found on our own. So yeah, we try to throw all of that into what we do.
Does the band have any plans to come to Australia at all?
Man, we would love to. I think we're kind of like, as far as just like larger scale touring plans go, we're a little bit in like wait and see mode with what's feasible with this album out, and see what kind of opportunities come our way. But we're like, we'll always be kind of keeping our eye out for opportunities like that, and hopefully we can do some international touring with this album. So fingers crossed, but no set plans yet.
Does the band name come from the, so I understand there's this weird law in Florida when it comes to reporting crimes. And so that's why all those bizarre news stories seem to come out of Florida, is because it's actually happening everywhere, but there's something that in Florida that there's some law about reporting crime, and that's why it seems so bizarre. It's like Florida man wrestles alligator in the nude. Like, I don't know.
Yes, yeah. There's no shortage of like strange news headlines and stories that have come out in Florida in particular, basically forever. But yeah, I think back when we were starting the band, it was like, it was a little bit more of this niche thing where there was like a subreddit about, it was like r/Florida man or whatever, and like
Yeah,
people that lived there would put up, the crazy headline of the day or whatever. And then honestly, like, I don't know, maybe 2 years into us being a band, it kind of like blew up, like the lore thing, the headline, like the meme format of Florida Man kind of blew up. And so we actually got sick of it so fast, but we were kind of stuck with it. And that's why we like have kind of changed it a little, like we shortened it to like FLMAN a lot. And there's like a bunch of bands that have started since then called Florida Man. It's like, it was fitting and funny at the time, but I don't know. We're just kind of stuck with it. But what are you gonna do?
you can always change it. I think there was a noise rock band that I came across called Fight Amputation or something, and they now just call
Oh,
themselves
Fight Amp. Yeah, Fight
Yeah,
Amp.
they just call
Yeah, I've
themselves
seen.
Fight Amp.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, Fight Amp is awesome. I've seen them a couple times. But yeah. I mean, some bands switch it all together and start a new thing. We were just like, that's a lot of work to start completely over from scratch. So, Florida Man, it is, but kind of we were
that
more excited about it when we first started.
Yeah.
oh mate. Guys, this has been rad. Thank you very much for your time, both of you. And yeah, guys, look, we will get this up in the next few days. Yeah, thank
Awesome.
you for your time, man,
Thank
and
you.
well done on the album.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tom. Keep in touch, man.
Meet you.
No worries, guys. See ya.
Bye.